Hey, Wimbledon World Entertainment, and you remember Indiana Jones and the Dial of Disaster? All the rumours that came out, and we were all told we were crybabies, we were man babies, we were basement dwellers, we were just idiots and just full of crap by James Mangold, the director, as well as other scoopers and whatnot. Well, it turns out all those rumours were absolutely 100% true.
It's all true.
Yes, so Indiana Jones 5 rumours were right. Ending changed confirms James Mangold. And it is said that the audience hated the test screenings. So they are also confirming that yes, there was indeed test screenings of this thing. So let's have a look at this. And there's also another bit of what we could have had instead of the garbage fest that was Indiana Jake and the Dial of Disaster. So it turns out those Indy Jones 5 rumours were right, as director James Mangold has admitted the ending to the film was changed. Recall all the controversy as rumours offered that test screenings were held featuring different endings that audiences absolutely loaded. The endings are said to have included Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Helena, replacing Harrison Ford at the request of Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. The worst ending is said to have taken place in the 1930s. A young Indiana Jones sacrifices himself to save Helena, causing old Indy to fade away. Helena picks up the whip, dons the fedora, and becomes the new Indiana Jones, and the classic John Williams music score hits. The leaks also said that a significant portion of the film took place in the 30s. Well, James Mangold pretty much confirms all of this, so brace yourselves. Regarding what James Mangold has said, he doesn't confirm Phoebe Waller-Bridge was going to replace Harrison Ford, but he does confirm multiple endings and scripts. So here's what he starts to say. When I came on the movie, they had been playing with a bunch of different things, which were basically just reduxes of what had happened in the first movie. Just more apparitions and ghosts, and I felt like I was just watching the first movie over again when I envisioned what was in the existing scripts. And I felt like what Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and Larry Kasdan and David Koepp as well had done successfully in the other films, was to keep kind of pulling up a rock on a different aspect of history and metaphysics and not going back to the same thing. In a way, I didn't want to do that kind of, is it a Death Star again? And yet that's somewhat of what he ended up doing. Mangold also reveals that Indiana Jones 5 originally mostly took place in the 1930s period, just like the leaks said. So if you remember, it said that it was basically going to be young Indy coming face to face with old Indy back in Nazi Germany, and it would be all around that type of stuff. And that's where he was going to end up sacrificing himself. Now, all those leaked endings were supposedly in the 30s as well, so keep that in mind. So he went on to say, the movie is exploring the themes of time, past and present. That became my central idea, which is why the movie opens in the past and, in other iterations, went back there at the end. When we did start writing, it was my theory that at first that we would end up back in Nazi Germany in 1938. Mangold also confirms an ending had the older Indiana Jones returning to the time of the younger Indiana Jones in the 30s from the start of the movie, again, just as the leak said. And he said this for that. As we got there, it started occurring to me that that's what the audience is going to be anticipating and therefore not very surprising to them. And B, we'd be plunged just back into the opening of the film, only with a 79-year-old Indy running around, Mangold said. We were all expecting him to go back in time. Why would audiences be expecting him to go back in time? It made no sense. He continued, I felt we needed something more shocking, something bolder, and something that also affected Indy. If he had gone back to Nazi Germany, he would simply be a hero trying to stop Voller from doing his plan. If he ended up where he does end up in the film, he was going to be facing bigger questions about his own life and what he studied all his life. And I thought that was going to be more interesting. And also, unusually, bolder is better if you can do it. Ironically, what Mangold turned the film into was Indiana Jones trying to save Hitler. That's what the movie was actually about, because Voller's plan was to go back to Germany, kill Hitler, and take his place. So when you actually look at it and break it down, Indiana Jones' mission was to save Hitler. What a joke. So all those rumors were right. And before we get into this next part of what we could have had, I will say to you, if you're enjoying the video and stuff, subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button. And now, let's go into this, because it turns out, originally, the movie could have had Short Round. That's right. We could have had Indiana Jones and Short Round kicking the heads off of zombies. So, check this out. Unused concept art from the latest Indiana Jones movie has surfaced, showcasing the return of Ke Huy Quan's beloved character as he and Indy fight off a horde of zombies. Indiana Jones 5 went through multiple iterations, so it's unclear how soon this idea was scrapped. Key won an Oscar for his work in Everything Everywhere All at Once and has since received widespread acclaim for his work in Loki. Having him appear in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Disaster would have been a great way to increase fan interest in the fifth installment, but Indy instead found a sidekick in his granddaughter, Helena Shaw. And the actor, of course, has said he never closed the door on potentially reprising the role. He even said, I'm here, man. I loved that character so much, and it would just be incredible to revisit so many years later. And then you see the concept art, and you're just thinking, where was that movie? How did we end up with this garbage fest that we ended up with? With a broke down old ass Indiana Jones giving up on life. That's the thing. When you look at James Mangold saying, oh, we wanted to kind of have Indy question his studies and everything else. No, that's not even what happened. He didn't question his studies. He wanted to stay there and die. That's what Indiana Jones wanted. He didn't want to return home. He didn't want to preserve the history of what he was witnessing and whatnot, because him as the archaeologist and everything else, and all of his studies, he never wanted to destroy history, and he knew that would happen had he stayed back in the Roman times. And what does he decide? Oh no, I just want to stay here, screw up everything. Because he even says, when Helena says to him, like, you're gonna screw up history, he's like, who cares? It doesn't matter, who cares? He says that. And the only way he gets brought back is she knocks him out with one punch. He wanted to stay there and die. That's the Indiana Jones movie we got, where we could have had Indy and Short Round fighting zombies. I mean, come on. We really got screwed out of a proper send-off for Indiana Jones. That sucks. But there you go. There's the rumours. All of them were right. It was true. There was multiple endings. There was test screenings. He's trying to say, oh, at one point Helena never took over for Indy. I think that one's crap. I think he's saying that because he knows the pure backlash that would happen. He's going to get backlash for this as well, and rightfully so. Like, he went after people on Twitter. He had a 24-hour meltdown on Twitter over all this stuff. And it turns out we were all right in the end anyway. Just another Hollywood dumbass, basically. But there you go. That's the latest on the indie. What could have been and what was, by the sounds of it. And with that, I will leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.